Hey everyone, and welcome back to CultureZap. Have you ever woken up from a dream feeling like you just unlocked a secret, solved a puzzle, or even spoke to someone from another world? We often think of sleep as just a way to recharge our bodies, a biological necessity. But what if I told you that for one of the world's most fascinating ancient civilizations, sleep was a gateway to the divine, a direct line to the gods themselves? Today, we're journeying back thousands of years to the banks of the Nile to uncover the secrets of Egyptian dream incubation. Forget everything you think you know about bedtime. In ancient Egypt, sleep wasn't just rest, it was a sacred ritual, a powerful tool for seeking guidance, healing, and profound wisdom. They didn't just go to sleep, they embarked on a spiritual quest, and their destination was the world of dreams. So, get comfortable as we explore how the ancient Egyptians didn't just have dreams, they actively cultivated them to speak with their gods. To understand dream incubation, we first need to understand the Egyptian view of the world. For them, the physical and spiritual realms were not separate, they were deeply intertwined. Gods and goddesses weren't distant, abstract figures. They were active participants in daily life, influencing everything from the flooding of the Nile to the health of a child. Deities like Isis, Osiris, and Ra were revered, but there was one god who held a special key to the world of dreams: Serapis. Serapis was a fascinating deity, a blend of the Egyptian god Osiris, the god of the underworld, and Apis, the sacred bull, combined with Greek deities like Zeus and Hades. This fusion happened during the Ptolemaic period when Greek culture merged with Egyptian traditions. Serapis became a god of abundance, the sun, and, most importantly, healing and prophecy. Temples dedicated to him, called serapeums, became the epicenters for one of the most incredible spiritual practices in history. Imagine this. You're an ancient Egyptian suffering from a chronic illness that no physician can cure. Or perhaps you're a sculptor struggling with a creative block, unable to envision your next masterpiece. Maybe you're a farmer desperate for guidance on when to plant your crops. Where do you turn? You make a pilgrimage to a serapeum, like the famous one in Alexandria or Saqqara. These weren't just places of worship. They were spiritual hospitals, divine think tanks. Upon arriving, you wouldn't just walk in and lie down. The process was a carefully orchestrated ritual designed to purify the body and focus the mind. You would begin with days of preparation. This involved fasting, abstaining from certain foods and drinks, and performing cleansing rituals with water from sacred pools. You would offer prayers and sacrifices to Serapis and other gods, demonstrating your devotion and the sincerity of your plea. Priests would guide you through these steps, reciting incantations and hymns to prepare your soul for its encounter with the divine. The goal was to leave the mundane world behind and enter a heightened state of spiritual readiness. Once you were deemed pure, you would be led into the heart of the temple, to a special, secluded chamber known as an abaton. This was the dream dormitory. These were often dark, quiet spaces, sometimes built underground, designed to sensory deprive and further focus the mind inward. Here, you would lie down on a simple mat or a stone slab, surrounded by inscriptions of prayers and divine imagery. The air would be thick with the scent of incense, the silence broken only by the faint chanting of priests. Then, you would simply sleep. But this was no ordinary sleep. This was a purposeful, intentional journey into the subconscious. You would lie there, holding your question or your plea in your heart, waiting for the gods to answer. The Egyptians believed that during this sanctified sleep, the soul, or Ba, could travel from the body and communicate directly with the divine. The dream you had in the abaton was not a random firing of neurons. It was a divine message, a celestial prescription. So what happened when you woke up? The dream itself was only half the journey. Upon awakening, you would immediately seek out a temple priest, who was also a skilled dream interpreter. You would recount every detail of your vision: the symbols, the figures you saw, the words you heard, the feelings you experienced. The priest's job was to decode this divine message. For example, if you dreamt of a clear river flowing, it might signify healing and the washing away of illness. A dream of a particular plant might be interpreted as a literal prescription for an herbal remedy. A vision of a god handing you a tool could be the key to solving an engineering problem. These interpretations weren't just guesswork. They were based on extensive dream books, ancient texts that cataloged thousands of symbols and their accepted meanings. One of the most famous is the Chester Beatty Papyrus III, a document from around 1200 BCE, which lists various dreams and their good or bad omens. The outcomes of these incubated dreams were believed to be life-altering. People claimed to have been miraculously cured of untreatable diseases. Inscriptions and testimonials, known as ayamata, were often left at the temples by grateful seekers, describing their ailment and the dream that led to their cure. Architects and inventors claimed their breakthroughs came from divine blueprints received in sleep. Lovers sought guidance on their relationships, and leaders sought prophecies about the fate of the nation. The Temple of Serapis was, in essence, a place where the subconscious was consulted as the ultimate oracle. Now, this all might sound like ancient superstition to our modern ears, but what if there's a scientific basis for what the Egyptians were doing? Let's fast forward a few thousand years. Today, psychologists and neuroscientists are deeply interested in a phenomenon called lucid dreaming and creative problem solving during sleep. Lucid dreaming is the state of being aware that you are dreaming while you are in the dream. While in this state, you can often exert some control over the dream's narrative. Modern science has confirmed that our brains are incredibly active during REM sleep, the stage where most vivid dreaming occurs. This is a time when the brain consolidates memories, processes emotions, and makes new connections. It's a state of hyperconnectivity, where parts of the brain that don't normally communicate can link up, leading to novel ideas and insights. Think about it. The Egyptian ritual of dream incubation, the fasting, the sensory deprivation, the intense focus on a single problem before sleep is a perfect recipe for priming the brain for this kind of creative breakthrough. By focusing their intention so intensely, they were essentially programming their subconscious to work on a problem. This is a technique that modern innovators, scientists, and artists still use today, sometimes without even realizing it. Famous stories, like Paul McCartney composing Yesterday in a Dream or chemist August Keckel discovering the ring structure of benzene after dreaming of a snake eating its own tail, echo the same principle. The ancient Egyptians were, in a way, pioneering a form of targeted psychotherapy and creative brainstorming. They recognized that the dreaming mind operates on a different logic, free from the constraints of waking consciousness. It communicates in symbols and metaphors, the very language that the temple priests were trained to interpret. They didn't have the language of neuroscience, so they described it through the lens of their spiritual beliefs as the gods speaking to them. But the core mechanism might be the same, accessing the profound problem-solving power of the human subconscious. What the Egyptians created was a system that gave people hope and a sense of agency over their lives. In a world with limited medical knowledge and unpredictable challenges, the belief that you could directly petition the divine for a solution was incredibly empowering. It provided psychological comfort and, quite possibly, real, tangible results born from the hidden genius of their own minds. So, the next time you lay your head on your pillow, think about the ancient Egyptians in the dark, quiet chambers of the Serapeum. They weren't just passively resting. They were actively seeking wisdom, healing, and connection in the vast, mysterious landscape of their own dreams. They knew something that we are only just beginning to rediscover, that some of life's most profound answers aren't found by searching harder in the waking world, but by listening closer to the whispers of our sleeping selves. They didn't scroll for wisdom, they slept for it. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey into the past. What do you think? Have you ever solved a problem in a dream? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed awakening the dreamers of history with us, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to CultureZap, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an exploration. Until next time, sleep well, and may your dreams be enlightening.